Shalom, children. Today we will look more at the instructions that Yahweh gives to the Israelites through Moshe. This parasha begins by describing the special jobs he has for his priests, but these instructions are meant only for them. So for now, let's jump ahead to learn about his appointed times, which are special feasts that he wants all the Israelites to celebrate. The first celebration we see in this chapter of the parasha is one that we get to do every single week. Do you know what it is? That's right, it's the Shabbat. Yahweh tells the Israelites to rest on Shabbat and not to do any work. Every seventh day, we take this special time to get together. We relax and we learn about Yahweh. Now, have you ever celebrated one of Yahweh's pilgrimage feasts, like Passover or Sukkot? Pilgrimage feasts are one type of appointed time that Yahweh gives to the Israelites, and there are 3 of them in each year. We have a lot of fun celebrating these feasts, and once one feast is finished, we have weeks or even months to look forward to the next one. So the first of Yahweh's yearly appointed times is Passover and the Festival of Unleavened Bread, which begin together. Yahweh tells his people that they are to celebrate this festival by eating only bread that is unleavened. Unleavened bread, or matzah, is really flat because it didn't have time to rise before it was baked. When the sun goes down to begin the first day of unleavened bread, the Passover meal is eaten with matzah. Then, when they wake up in the morning, they are not to do any servile work that first day. They are supposed to gather together and to bring to Yahweh an offering made by fire for each of the 7 days. Then, on the 7th day, they are told to have another gathering and to do no servile work on that day either. Once the Israelites have settled into the land of Canaan and begin to raise crops, there is a special offering that Yahweh's people are to bring during this time. It is called the offering of first fruits, or the wave sheaf offering. They are also to bring a portion of the first fruits of their harvest to the priest, along with offerings of a lamb, a grain offering, and a wine offering. And they are not to eat bread, roasted grain, or fresh grain until they have brought this offering. Yahweh's offering comes first. Yahweh then tells them about the Festival of Weeks, which in Hebrew is called Shavuot. This is the second pilgrimage feast. To get to Shavuot, you must have counted 7 completed Sabbaths over a period of 49 days. Then, on the 50th day, a new grain offering was brought to Yahweh. He wanted them to bring offerings of 2 loaves of bread made out of fine flour and baked with leaven, so they will be nice and puffy. He also told them to bring several lambs, a bull, 2 rams, and a goat. Wow, that's a lot of animals. They are told to bring them to the priests, who are given special instructions on what to do with them. They are also told to have a set-apart gathering and not to do any servile work. Now, we are going to talk about the fall feasts. Several months after Shavuot comes the next appointed time of Yahweh, the Festival of Trumpets. You may have heard this one called YMTOI or Rosh Hashanah. This is the day that we get to hear lots and lots of shofar blasts. tells the Israelites that this day is for resting and remembering Yahweh by blowing trumpets. He also tells them to bring another offering. 10 days after the Festival of Trumpets comes the Day of Atonement. It is a very solemn day when the Israelites are to gather together and afflict themselves. We practice this by fasting, which means that we go a whole day without having anything to eat or drink. Yahweh tells them to bring another offering, and then he reminds them again to afflict themselves and tells them not to do any work. And boy, he is serious. He says that they must remember this commandment forever, to afflict themselves and not to do any work on this day, and their children and their children's children, for all generations are to remember it too, no matter where they live. Finally, we come to the Festival of Booths, or Sukkot, which is the Hebrew word for booths. It is the third yearly pilgrimage feast and lasts for 7 days, with a special 8th-day festival added at the end, called Shemini Atzeret. Sukkot is a joyful time that takes place when they have gathered in the fruit of the land. All the native Israelites are to gather together and spend time living in booths during this festival. In the land of Israel, harvest time always brings beautiful sunny weather. So living in booths is like the best camp out you could ever imagine. Have you ever helped build or decorate a sukkah? Yahweh explains to them that living in booths is meant to remind them how they lived in booths out in the wilderness after he brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim. On the first day of this festival, they are to gather together and rest. Yahweh tells them to bring an offering for 7 days, and then, on the 8th day on Shemini Atzeret, they are to have a final special gathering, bring another offering, and rest from work. It is a time of dancing and joy. Well, we are at the end of Yahweh's list of all the appointed times that he gave the Israelites. And you may think that's a lot of gatherings and celebrations. But Yahweh wants his people to delight in him and in his goodness, and I enjoy each one of them. Well, children, we have come to the end of our story for today. So we will see you next time for another exciting Torah portion. Shalom.
And they will know that we belong to him when we